So you've been watching Power Rangers for several years. You love the characters, you love the franchise, then started to wonder how your favorite season played out over in Japan. You remember watching an episode where you'd see an Asian actress pop up, one episode would be weirdly edited, you wonder why Ryan vanished for 10 episodes. There's a ton of Super Sentai out there. You have many choices in that area. Super Sentai, I would say, is more beginner friendly. Sentai does use a lot of history in itself. They'll bring back actors, do specials, but for the most of it, the seasons are self-contained. It gives more leeway for your first Sentai. The first thing you should expect, the majority of the seasons are different from Power Rangers, so not everything will be familiar. Characters can go into different directions all the time. You might even like someone you hated in PR. There's also a cool bonus when watching Sentai. You have this vivid memory of a PR episode, it did something odd. You go watch the Sentai, you might get answers to what was going on. It's one of the fun parts of Sentai. If you're a fan of anime, this style and the references to Japanese culture will be pretty much the same. If you're not, some things can get you confused, but push on. You'll start understanding stuff. Many thanks goes to Jolivra522 for the suggestion. If you have a topic or an idea for a future episode, leave a comment below. I might pick it one day.
Life Man.
One of the unique things about Super Sentai is it has 15 seasons that take place prior to MMPR. This era of Sentai relied more on fantastical and practical elements like aliens, war, demons. The show got grim in a lot of the 80s seasons. It was also finding its footing, so established things like 6 Rangers didn't exist. It's the 12th Super Sentai season. It's one of the emotional roller coaster stories of the franchise. A group of friends felt their talents were wasted, so they decided to leave for the Volt organization. They killed some of their former colleagues, vanishing for a few years. Over time, we got introduced to the main characters that completed their plans to explore space, where the others returned, becoming evil, murdering everyone who attempted to leave Earth. So you had former friends versus a team of Rangers. This is one of those seasons that started with 3 Rangers. It had tough moments between everyone. It brought more variety in vehicle design, taking cues from Go Lion and Dairanger 15. The premise is very straightforward. It's universal. It has a similar feel to Kamen Rider Faiz. I think you'll find it an interesting season. Hopefully Jetman sold well enough so they continue releasing more of the older ones.
Go-onger.
Now I know some of you are going, this season, really? I like Go-onger, but that's not why it's here. It's here for 2 big reasons. You might have heard that Super Sentai loves to do zany, goofy type of seasons, usually after a serious one, which is the reason why Turbo was all over the place. I think it would be a good idea to experience a season like this to see if you like this type of style. Second, and biggest reason, you can see how different Go-onger was to RPM. This is a prime example on how PR can adapt footage, nearly never using any element past visuals. The vehicles talk in Go-onger, they're from a different dimension. Go-on Gold and Silver are complete opposites of Gem and Gemma. Watching RPM, then going into Go-onger, you'll be thrown off guard. Try it out. If you like it, you'll be more open to other seasons. If it's the worst thing in the world, I suggest you pass on Car Ranger.
Magiranger.
One of the things Sentai uses for some seasons is animal characters. It's common to have an acorn guy or a magical plant. Magiranger was led by several Yoda-like guys. Master Shafu, who was a cat, Batley is a talking bat, and so on. It's not a lighthearted Sentai, it's kind of hard to classify Magiranger. Jan Gekired is similar to Cole, but then you have Rio and Melee, the main villains of the season, who are super serious. They use ancient evil techniques to try to kill Master Shafu and everyone under him. One of the Rangers' brother went insane with his animal powers. The season also asked some tough questions between the good and evil sides. The ending was somewhat surprising. It was a mishmash of a lot of things. You like a more non-standard type of Ranger season focusing on style and fantasy? Magiranger is your cup of tea. Jan's personality will make or break your enjoyment though. A little heads up on what to expect.
Dairanger.
I think people will get drawn to this season because of the suits never being used on MMPR. But the season's more than that. Dairanger is vastly different than what MMPR used it for, right down to the White Ranger. He's a kid in Dairanger, so Tommy acting weird will make more sense. Dairanger is very martial arts based, think Jungle Fury abilities, some hidden secrets between the good and bad guys that explain their war over the centuries. There's a load of family betrayal. Cole, the White Ranger, went through a lot of stuff. The best thing, you'll finally understand why Serpentera got nothing to do, who Tor the Shuttle Sword was, and even see where Master Org's outfit came from. All of those odd problems that Season 2 had, you'll understand them better. The monsters alone were different. Take the Keymaster in the Halloween episode. That monster took the life force out of kids and put them inside toys, so you had dolls and stuff shooting guns at people. Dairanger made crazy episodes like that. You want to see how far Sentai can go? It's a good place to start here.
Magiranger.
This season is remembered for the family story. Other past seasons had family teams, Go-Go 5 for one, but Magiranger I think is the best one. Each person had weaknesses and strengths. The best part was the team had no real mentor for half the season. They had to trudge through all kinds of nonsense with very little help because Yuki, the White Ranger, was killed. That's why Donna didn't get much to do. They had to learn magic, find their true potential. All the characters were used. None of this, Nick is the light, he's the stars, things happen. Red was your standard Red Ranger. The villains were still lackluster. I don't like the whole rotating thing. I wish the 10 terrors were used through the whole season. Vencuria was used much more better than Necroli. When the season ends, you feel satisfied where everyone lands. It's one of my favorite Sentais. Highly recommend it.
Time Ranger.
Time Ranger is a good starting off point, since it's one of the season's PR copy that everyone enjoyed. Granted, if you love Time Force, you'll be familiar with Time Ranger, but it will get you used to how PR changes things. Ransig doesn't exist, for example. You'll be surprised that Gluto, the dumb blue whale monster that didn't do much, was the main boss in Time Ranger. The problems with Katie and Lucas aren't here, so it'll be fun to watch Domo and Ayase through their stories, and if you've only seen the censored versions of Time Force, you'll get to see a lot of the original material that was lost. Is Time Force better than Time Ranger, or is it the other way around? I can never make that call. Each season has pros and cons, but it's still good to watch both of them.
Magiranger.
If you found MMPR's school setting interesting, I think you'll find Magiranger to your liking. The team is about a group of high schoolers that poke fun at themselves, a few being serious, Red wanting to eat food all day. It's a mishmash of ideas. Big company organization trying to find young people to operate the Magiranger suits. The show loosely has video game elements, but not like Kamen Rider X-Aid. Watching Magiranger will also get you to understand some of the limitations in space had to deal with. Magiranger wasn't looking for someone. They almost never even traveled in space. It was a Earth-grounded show, being attacked by people from a twisted dimension. Younger fans might find the season corny. Magiranger focused a lot on computer technology of the time. Back then, computers were not really known to the general public. Things that wouldn't be accepted for computers to do might annoy you if you prefer tech to be more realistic. I still think it's a good watch. I like all 6 Rangers. Dr. Kubota was a different type of mentor. You'll get to see the Neji Rangers. Most of the robo names were kept as is. You'll have some of that familiarity between the two series.
Go-onger.
If you are unhappy with Operation Overdrive, I suggest Go-onger. It was the show's 30th anniversary, but that was limited to small segments at the end of episodes, so you don't have to worry about spoilers from past seasons. Go-onger itself? This season focused on treasure hunting, hidden secrets, grudges, both in the team and the villains. The Sixth Ranger was not an alien, but he was born half human and a demon-like offshoot. Go-onger had some fun stuff, like they're all led by this virtual avatar called Mr. Voice, who looks like a snow cone. Zuban, which was the Sentinel Knight, is from Advanced Tech. He's used much more. Probably the funniest bit was picking up groceries. The show hits a good balance between fun, action, and drama. One of the craziest things I can remember, Boken Yellow taking control of Daiboken, crashing into the floor, crushing all the minions. Oh, and the best part? Matsumi is an excellent character. You'll enjoy Boken Black. The villains are much more interesting than what Overdrive did at half of them. There is no Norg. In some cases, you'll feel sorry for them. There's even some twists that surprise you. Highly suggested.
Shinkenger.
If you find understanding another culture difficult, Shinkenger would be a good one to test the waters. It's a very Japanese-centric show. You will get confused on things, but the story is excellent. The characters are what you're there for. Shinkenger is the most Japanese-esque of any of the Sentais. If you can get past this season, you're home free with the rest of the series. If you were very unhappy with Samurai, it'd be great to watch Shinkenger. You'll get why things got messed up, understand who the characters are, the uneasiness of the Lord system where you have to obey the leader ranger's commands. Over time, the characters do become friends and the old style gets pushed to the side. It even shows how some negative aspects of the old samurai ways used people for things they didn't want to do or saw as honorable, even when it had a good reason to do them. It's a conflict at the core of the characters, but even what Super Sentai is. They're a team, but sometimes Shinkenger fought against that. That's why I enjoyed it a lot.
Dairanger.
It's probably not as surprising that Dairanger ended as first, but Deca was something special. Everything clicked about it, from the relationships to the weird powers of the characters, the bizarre things the show had like Doggy Kruger. No one felt left out. We did have 10 characters, one being in the first Deca movie. The writers were able to marry spandex superheroes, the storytelling of a kid show, with noir-like drama. They're cops and they do sting operations on drug lords, alien infiltrators, murderers. The team delved deep into a lot of real-life areas. They had a tough mentor. Doggy didn't take anything. He made his team sometimes hate him, so they learned a lesson the hard way. It had that camaraderie, like Saving Private Ryan. You could see on the screen that all the actors loved their jobs. Effort was put in each episode. When Umiko did something funny, it was good. When Bon and Hoji argued on what to do, you wanted to see how they worked it out. Those actors loved those roles. They came back and dubbed Power Rangers SPD. Go-Onger gave them a 2-part tribute episode. Dairanger is probably Kamen Rider's Den-O. It worked with a lot of people. Even after so many returns to the series, I still like to see what they're up to. I mean, hell, what TV series gets away with the narrator repeating, "Jasmine is an Esper" every single time? If it's not said once, something feels wrong. The best advice I can give to anyone watching Super Sentai for the first time: you need an open mind. Watching Power Rangers puts you in a certain mindset which Sentai doesn't share. You're not gonna like every season. You might hate a season or Sentai you loved in PR, or the reverse. I think these are the best choices out of 40 seasons. Of course, you have many other ones out there to choose from. You loved MMPR so much, go check out Dairanger. Always keep this in mind: Power Rangers is not a dub. With exceptions, they are different series at the core. What do you think about my choices? New episodes Mondays, fan commentaries Tuesdays. Next week, 10 secondary villains that need some fixing. Sorry about not including stills in the video. Due to past fair use abuses from the various companies involved, I no longer feature them. Thank you for understanding. See you in the next video.